Howdy, and welcome back to my Expedition Camper build series. This is build series video number 23. And after completing building the camper in record time in just over 4 days and making this beautiful now Expedition Camper ready to go, we're going to now talk into a little bit of the interior and some of the challenges and what's planned to come. So hang tight, please subscribe, and looking forward to sharing more with you. All right, here we are in my brand new camper box. And yes, it's echoey in here, as you can probably tell. Only hard walls, nothing soft finishes. Furnishings. You definitely see the blue stripes on the ceiling that mark out where the ceiling conduits are for running electrical for ceiling lights. You can also see the blue stripe here that marks out where the awning mount is. That is actually really going to be mounted on the outside. Just wanted to mark it on both sides, inside and outside. So here we go. Here we are in the new camper box, and to give you a perspective of the size, it feels really large. You're on the back shelf here, which is going to be the bed platform, which is not yet installed, but there's, because of the way I did the stepped rear departure angle, it allows me to extend the bed platform over past the bumper. It gives me a couple more feet of camper space without extending the wheelbase or going past the bumper down low. This is already, that's probably about 8 feet off the ground, or maybe even more where that bed platform is. The bumper itself is about 4 feet off the ground. So that bed platform will come out to about here, and that'll be a queen bed that will retract back up into a day bed, fold up into a day bed that'll electrically retract back up. Underneath will be the bike garage, and from underneath that bed will actually be an electrically retracting dinette table that'll come out, and that'll allow the dinette platform to be totally open, so the dinette platform can be used as really good storage, and also for accessing the batteries, which are going to be directly underneath the bed platform, without having to have a post to hold up the dinette table in the middle of that platform and complicate the ability to get to those batteries that are down in that bed platform or any other parts of the electrical system down in there. The remainder of the electrical system will be on top of the water tanks, which will be in the dinette benches, and there'll be a lot of storage within those dinette benches, and then underneath those dinette benches will be the two big main water tanks, about almost 50 gallons each. And underneath the bed platform in front of the dinette, where I'm standing right now, will be the garage, the gear garage. And this will be for holding bikes, inflatable paddle boards, kayaks, things of that nature. So right now I'm in the dinette, and then we go forward to the kitchen. It'll be on both sides, or the galley as a lot of people call it. Over here we're going to have a full height fridge, freezer set up. It's going to be 2 drawers in the bottom that'll pull out. Either one could be a freezer or a refrigerator, so it gives a lot of flexibility. And above will be a swing out refrigerator, which I really like, a swing out refrigerator. And then on this side of the refrigerator will be an induction stove. Above that will be a toaster oven. There'll be some overhead cabinets over the dinette and above the kitchen. On this side will be full counter space with a sink, kitchen sink about here, and then a microwave over here. The air conditioner evaporator will be here, blowing a ducted supply going out that way, just down this one side overhead, with a few vents on the way down to make sure that it's cooling the bed area, and then it'll blow out and then circulate back around. And then where I'm standing now, which seems very far away, right? Because I'm from the camera about 15 feet away. But right here will be the entry door. That'll enter into what I call a mudroom or vestibule, and that's a place to take off shoes, muddy shoes and so forth can all be taken off. Can be rinsed down, because this will actually be the shower pan as well. There'll be a fold out or slide out bathroom sink, and a kind of hidden away, but with a cabinet opens up, mirror and bathroom things and stuff there. And then the whole shower pan, everything, this will all be shower with a sliding door to separate that between that and the kitchen. And then over here will be a full height closet, shoe storage, slide out toilet. So the toilet can slide out on a slide that'll be elevated above the shower pan. So there's no penetration to that shower pan other for the drain. And then of course the pass-through. And the pass-through will be here. The EarthCruiser pass-through is very wide. It's about like this, but it's not that tall. roughly about this height. So I'm going to shrink the width a little bit down to accommodate my full height cabinet on this driver's side. And that's going to also be an electrically raising and lowering door to isolate between the cab and the cabin. And I'll go more on that in the future as well. And then there's also, underneath the kitchen cabinet here, there's going to be a washer dryer combo. So it'll be a washer dryer that can do both washing and dry. It'll just go right from wash to dry. So this way in extended travels, clothes can always be clean, and doesn't have to be, you don't have to carry enough clothes to get by for weeks before getting to a laundry facility. Just clothes can be cleaned regularly. And this is very important for someone like me who tries to get out and exercise every day, and thus you get sweaty, dirty, things like that. So you're always building up dirty clothes and smelly dirty clothes. So you want to get those cleaned, or they just keep accumulating. And that's the general layout. What I'm dealing with right now is a few things, and so let me walk you through. All right, so into this big space. So there's a few things to walk through that I have to think about. One is up high here. It was really hard to put on this roof, as you can see. I mean, if I just walk around, this is a really big roof, right? We basically have a panel that's 7 feet wide and 16 feet long. And so putting this on was a challenge. We got a lot of adhesive sealing that has pushed out here. It got sealed great, it just got a lot of overlap. We didn't do a very good job cleaning this up, partly because installing this really big panel was very challenging, as you probably saw from the video of the installation. We had to get hung up on the back wall over here, up above there, and also on the sides a little bit, and it's a lot of extrusions to all fit in together. And so we did not get that really well cleaned up, or we didn't get it taped well either. And it's hard to tape it because this ceiling panels you saw in the video, if you watch that, if not, go back and watch it. It's pretty fun, entertaining probably. But we had this sitting up on some drywall stands. That 8 feet of height was to give really the bed platform room above that, so that I can sit up in bed, and someone else obviously with me can sit up in bed too. We can read and be comfortable in bed, and still enough room for bikes below it, which are unfortunately pretty big and tall. Anyways, this thing hanging up in the sky about 9+ feet up there, we obviously couldn't really reach it and get this really well taped off and everything while that was hanging up in the sky, while we got the sidewalls glued in, positioned, and then lowered the ceiling down onto it. So I gotta go in here and clean up some of this adhesive sealing, get this cleaned up, get the edges cleaned up. It's, like I said, it's well sealed, but so it's more just all cosmetic, and so that's something to take care of. And then even like here, there's just some dirt that needs to be cleaned up, and so I'll get cleaned up with that. One of the things to think about here when building one of these is really the interaction between the floor and the walls. So you think about this, two things. One, we have a floor that is down here in these corners, that mounting cabinets and things, there is the extrusion that raises about a little more than 1/8 of an inch, 3/16 of an inch or so above the floor. And so I have that going on, and that goes on not just on the side, but also the front and back panels. And then obviously the side corner as well. So I've got to contend with all those in the framing of my cabinets. And so that is something to deal with. And also the dimensions, as I've come to find out, side to side going across is supposed to be exactly 78 inches. It is not, 77 3/4. So it's slightly different on the width. Also the height is slightly different. It's also at 83 3/4 instead of 84 inches high. And so I've got to obviously contend with that in my cabinetry too. So, and I think that's ultimately just because the way the panels fit in the extrusions, how much Total Composites plans for sealant stuff being in there, or little variances and things like that. And so we probably got this thing fit tighter than Total Composites actually expects you to. I think we also had more sealant in there than they expect, but actually I think we got to compress tighter together than what they expect. So those things change the dimensions ever so slightly. It's not a big deal, it just means I just have to adjust to it. The side to side's easy because just means I'll have a 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch less in the center aisleway between cabinets. In the back, for the bed platform, that matters more because queen bed is going to go longitudinal, front to back, and that's 60 inches wide, So at 78 inches of total width, I have 9 inches on each side of the bed, and that's what I'm counting on in my bed platform because it slides out, and then a dining table sliding out underneath that, and then some storage on each side of the bed, and also at the back of the bed. Those things really, those dimensions, that 1/4 inch starts really mattering, so I've got to take that into account. The height doesn't really matter. I can adjust that for the height of the cabinets, but my plan is to have the cabinet framing glued on the floor, the walls, and the ceiling, and so it's really robust, almost creating like a roll cage inside this camper, and it'll tie this whole camp together, make it really, really strong. So that's part of the plan, but how do I glue it from side to ceiling to floor when I've got these little bit of extrusion add-ons there? So I have to think through this and how I'm going to frame out my cabinetry, make sure I get that taken care of. So I'm working on that, and there's a lot of little details to think through, but it's exciting to finally get moving now that not only do I have a truck chassis after going on this route for 2 years of looking at different truck chassis to purchase, also talking with Total Composites, as Andreas there reminded me a little while ago, for about 2 years on buying a box from them, which of course I finally did, and they got that made and shipped out, and yes, there were some delays in shipping, but there were more delays on getting the chassis. So I actually got the box way before the chassis. It's great to now finally have this box built. That was a massive accomplishment, and it was a lot of work over a few days to get that built, but all but this very back lower wall here, which I'm leaving open until I get my entry door put in, and that way I can still get in and out. Story on the entry door and the windows is, that's a whole nother complication, but those were ordered a long time ago. They should have been here over 2 months ago. They are still not here as far as I know. They still have not shipped. That is undoubtedly a frustration and a problem, because I don't actually know exactly what the dimensions are or the insulation going to be or how it's going to interface with the extrusions on the outside, the entry door. And so I don't know. Therefore that sets, not knowing those things doesn't allow me to set where the cabinets will be inside. And not having the bed platform in means also the front of the garage wall, which means I can't actually know my exact dimensions for this cabinetry coming up to that point. And so it really leaves me where I can't really finish up any of my cabinetry until I get that entry door. And so that is really messing me right now. So let's get that door and windows here. Thank you.
Coming up soon, building out a skid plate, and also so much more, including the internal panels. Thank you for watching and subscribing. Talk to you soon.